Hello, my most amazing artists. How are you? Today we are going to be doing a combination of art and STEM. So we are going to make some salt dough. Now this is a homemade dough that you can make at home, homemade. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our dough first, and this is a dough that will dry. You don't have to put it in a kiln. You don't have to put it in the oven. You can at the very end if it's not drying out. You can put it in for like 150 for a few minutes just to let it help all the moisture to dry out, but you should be able to leave it and let it air dry. So I was thinking about my 2nd through 5th graders and how you didn't get to do your clay project or get to finish it, and it's still at school, which stinks, but I thought maybe we could make our own, and then you could do whatever you want with it and it'd be really cool. So what we're gonna do is first we're going to make our dough. We're going to add ingredients, we're going to measure them out, we're going to mix them together, and that's what I have my handy dandy bowl here for. And then we're going to sculpt and make our salt dough sculpture or project. So once we do that, you can paint it also. And we may do that in another video, or you could just do that on your own as well. But the first thing we're gonna do is I have in my bowl a 1/4 cup of water. So I measured that out. When you're measuring out your water, if you have a regular old measuring cup, whatever, make sure that you measure it out, you put it on the table and pour it, and look from the side, because if you look and say, oh, that looks like a 1/4 cup, it might not really be. So look at it while it's sitting on the table and see if it's really a 1/4 cup. Then you're gonna use a 1/4 cup of salt. I'm gonna pour that in with my water. And I even have my spatula ready, and I'm going to mix it together. Now I also have, while I'm mixing this together, I also have my messy mat here. You could use whatever you need to for your messy mat. Mine is just a cut up cereal box. Yours could be a plastic tablecloth. Yours could be whatever you have lying around, really. It could be a piece of an Amazon box, cardboard, whatever, just sanitize it. And so then I'm gonna make sure I do everything on the messy mat so I don't get it on the table because it could stick, okay? So I've got my salt and water in here, and then I'm gonna put a 1/2 cup of flour, and I'm gonna put that in there. Try not to let it sploosh everywhere, and I'm going to mix it together. I'm gonna mix it really well. I'm using a spatula today to help me really combine all of those ingredients really well. So you're just gonna keep mixing it together until it becomes a dough. Now, if you get to a point where like, this does not look like a dough, this is too dense and hard, or this is too soft, you can add more water or more flour if that helps. And then when it's kind of starting to combine, you can take it out, or you can leave it in the bowl actually, and start kneading it. Now when you knead something, that's K-N-E-A-D, not N-E-E-D. So that means it's like when you're kneading dough for bread, you're kind of mushing it together with your hands. Now this is the part where it gets sticky and messy. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting sticky and messy. I'm going to start kneading my dough a little bit in my bowl, and it's starting to come together. I might even add a little bit more flour while we're here, just to kind of help it. And it also helps if you add a little bit of flour on your hands when you are making your sculpture. That way it's not quite so sticky on your hands. So I've seen other people use cooking spray. You spray a little bit on your hands, you could do that too. So my dough is starting to come together. It's starting to form into a ball. And remember, you can add more salt, more water, whatever you need to do, okay? So I'm playing with it a little bit, and I think it's just about there. It takes a little bit of time to get it just right, okay? So my dough, it's kind of squishy. It's fun to play with, but remember, it is a little bit sticky. So don't do it right on the table or somewhere you don't want to get messy. So I'm going to move my bowl and I'm going to take off some of this doughy mixture and I'm going to put a little bit on my table, almost like when you're making cookies. You can put a little bit, and that's kind of what it reminds me of. So there's a couple of things we're going to do with our dough first. The first one is we are going to make what is called a slab. Now a slab is when you can kind of roll it in your hands and make flat pieces that kind of look like a pancake. And we did that in class a little bit. You might remember some of you got to do that. So as you can see, it's starting to stick to me. That's why I've got my flour ready and handy dandy ready to go, just in case that happens, okay? See, I'm a little bit messy, but that's all right. That's the fun part. Just make sure it's okay with your parents. So I'm gonna flatten it. And another thing that would be really helpful for you to have today is maybe a plastic knife like this, plastic knife. Or you could even use a skewer, that's really kind of helpful. Or a pencil, whatever you have, just make sure it's okay that you use those things. Don't just grab it, but ask first, okay? So as you can see, I've got a good slab going on right here. And I am going to cut it in half. Now, if you drag it through, it might mess it up, so I'm kind of pushing it down a little bit. So as you can see, I've got my little half circle here. And if you want to make something else, that's totally awesome. But when you're done, make sure you send your pictures to Coach Scarborough because we want to put them up for the school to see how great you guys are doing, okay? So I'm gonna put this slab right here. I hope you can see that. And it kind of looks like a half a smile. And the next part, I'm gonna make a little birdie. So I'm gonna take some little roll right here and I'm gonna roll it in my hands like we did before. And I'm gonna do a little sploosh, just like that, and almost make like a little coin. And that's gonna be the eyeball. Now what's really, really helpful is if you've got some water and a brush, you know, and maybe not a brush, you might mess it up. If you've got some water, you can add it almost like glue to your dough and then it'll stick right here. So don't glue it on until you're sure if that's where you want it, but you can do a little glue to help it stay there. Because remember, this is just salt and flour and water. So I'm gonna do another little eyeball, make my little birdie. Sometimes you can overlap those eyeballs and make them look a little goofy, which we like to do in art classes. So then I'm gonna give him some pupils, because you need pupils in order to see, right? And make a little bitty dot right here. Add a little more water. Bloop. Oh no. And I'm gonna add a little bit more, and mine, he's kind of looking over to the side. He's a little bit silly looking. It's all right. So then I'm gonna make my little birdie's beak. Now your birdie's beak might look different, and that is awesome because you are the artist. Don't forget, you are the artist. So my little beak, I'm gonna make it almost like a little triangle, if you can see that. Here's my little triangle beak. And I'm gonna add some more water on the back because I like the way that that looks. I'm gonna stick it right here. Now your beak, you could add a little birdie smile if you want. A little bit like that, or just maybe he goes all the way across. And I'll show you guys mine when I'm all done with it. You could also, next you're gonna take the rest of your clay, your slab right here, and you could make a little birdie wing. So my little birdie's wing, I'm gonna smash my clay together just a little bit because it's starting to separate just a little. I'm gonna make almost like a triangle with mine. So I've got, looks like a piece of pizza. And I like my wing just like that, I think. A little bit. And my wing, I'm gonna give it some texture details. And I'm gonna use my pencil or my knife or whatever. and add a little bit. Oh, I've got a lot of dough right there. And just press some little details in there because that's what makes it look really, really good. I think I like that. And now remember, I've got to add some water to make it stick. So I think I do like the paintbrush idea. It helps put the water on there to play with it a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add my wing right here. Now be careful, this dough is pretty fragile, so you gotta make sure you've got just the right amount. If you mess up, guess what? That's okay. You can mess up. That's the best part. It doesn't matter because we're all learning what works and what doesn't. So I'm learning all the time, guys. Now my little birdie, I think the last thing he's gonna need is some little birdie feet. So my dough, I'm gonna take a little piece. I think I'm gonna make some little triangle birdie feet. Kind of look like this a little bit. And I'm gonna add some water on the back. Put one little birdie foot right here. And I'm gonna add a second little birdie foot. Now you guys, I know if you get frustrated, you're very tempted to quit, but you have to promise me that you are not gonna quit. You have to keep trying, okay? Because it's okay if we make mistakes, but we turn our mistakes into masterpieces. I heard you say it through the internet. So we're gonna add some more water and add our last little birdie foot right here. I really like my little birdie. He is super cute. And I'm gonna try and show it to you guys. Move my dough right here. I even got extra dough. I could make more stuff. That's really awesome. So I'm gonna show you my birdie. This is really helpful to have right here. And there he is. I just made a mess on the table. Ah! So my little birdie, he's right there. You could make burgers and pizzas like we were doing before you left, but you can make it however you want. Just make sure that when it's all done and dry, it will air dry, that you can paint it if you want, and then you make sure you send your pictures to Coach Scarborough. I believe his email is kscarborough@faleesburg.com. So make sure that you send it right on over because we want to see the really awesome stuff you guys have been doing. And I hope you are remembering, before I go, I hope you're remembering our elements of art. So I know your hands aren't messy yet because you're watching this first, right? So what I want you to do is you're gonna put your hand up. Remember, we are very fancy. I don't care how old you are. And you're gonna put your hand up in the elements of art. The first one is color, baby, color. The second one is line. And the third one is shape. Very good. And the fourth one is, I wanna see if you remember, but we also have texture. And remember, we did texture and we went texture like this, like it was really something gross and sticky on your fingers. We also have form, like this, you're forming your muscles, very good. We also have space, because you're like floating around in space. And then I think I'm forgetting one. Can you guys help me remember what I'm forgetting? Comment below, I wanna see what you remember. So, also, if you can remember how to do all of the elements of art, then I want you to maybe even send Coach Scarborough a quick video, which would be really, really cool. So I want to see what you guys do. If you get a little messy, that's okay. Just don't make a mess. Make sure you clean up after yourselves, okay? All right, you guys, have a great day. I want to see your birds or whatever you make, okay? Bye, guys.